What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for MLB Thursday, May 6th.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon.
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to go over my top DFS picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have an 8-game slate today, so let's take a look at the pitcher position. I like Brandon Woodruff pitching against the Philadelphia Phillies. Brandon Woodruff, he's only giving up a .479 OPS versus lefties, and he's facing 5 lefties. On top of that, the Phillies have only hit 3 of his last 42 pitches. That's a .071 batting average. It's a pretty big sample size, so that is fantastic player versus team history. Brandon Woodruff is $10,100 FanDuel salary and $800 less on DraftKings. Projected at 31.8 fantasy points here tonight. He has an ERA of 1.80. His record is 2-0 on the season, pitching an average of 87 pitches per game, averaging 39 fantasy points per game. He scored 34, 52, and 46 fantasy points in the last 3 games. And Vegas thinks this is going to be a low-scoring game. Only 7 runs scored in this game. That's the over-under. So I like Brandon Woodruff here versus the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher position. I like William Contreras with a 47% batting advantage over a low-salary pitcher, John Lester. So William Contreras doesn't have any data versus lefty pitchers yet, but John Lester, he's pitching his worst ball versus righty batters. 50% worse than his pitch to lefties. There's no at-bats versus Lester yet. I just want to note that William Contreras, he has a 1.163 OPS versus righties. He's off to a hot start this year, and he's only $2,200 FanDuel salary and $700 more on DraftKings. He's projected at 9.1 fantasy points here tonight. He's averaging 16 fantasy points per game on the season, and he scored 25, 13, and 10 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So I think he makes a fantastic value play here tonight. So I like William Contreras here versus John Lester.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won,
and then we'll send you $100 PayPal.
So it's that easy,
and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video.
So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Now guys, just as a quick note, we just released a free DFS contest on Draft Dashboard for MLB and NBA for DraftKings and FanDuel. There's over $500 available in the prize pool, and this is a totally free contest you can enter as a Draft Dashboard member. So make sure to click the link in the description of this video, give Draft Dashboard a try, and you can start playing in our free DFS contest and compete to win some money. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. I like Josh Harrison with a 32% batting advantage over Drew Smyly. Josh Harrison, he's batting 13% better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting a .910 OPS versus lefties. And Drew Smyly, he's throwing 19% worse versus righties as he does lefties, giving up a .847 OPS versus righties. Josh Harrison is 1 for 1 with a 2 OPS versus Smyly. He's $3,100 FanDuel salary, and he's $700 more on DraftKings. projected at 9.4 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 0, 3, and 12 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Josh Harrison here versus Drew Smyly. Just a quick shout out to Jed Lowry, who has a 48% batting advantage over Hyun-Jin Ryu. So Hyun-Jin Ryu, he doesn't throw very well versus switch hitters, giving up a .825 OPS versus switch hitters. Jed Lowry, it's a strong hand going up against lefty pitchers, batting a .860 OPS versus lefties. And Jed Lowry is $2,900 FanDuel salary and $1,200 more on DraftKings. He's projected at 10.5 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 3, 19, and 22 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So I prefer Josh Harrison, but it looks like Jed Lowry has a lower FanDuel price, so I could go Jed Lowry on FanDuel, but I like both Josh Harrison and Jed Lowry here at the second base position. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. I like Josh Donaldson with a 25% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Jordan Lyles. Josh Donaldson, he bats pretty much the same versus lefty and righties. He's batting a .789 OPS versus righties. And Jordan Lyles, he pitches his worst ball versus righty batters, 24% worse than his other pitches, giving up a 1.002 OPS versus righties. And Josh Donaldson is 3 for 4, batting a 750 batting average and a 2 OPS versus Lyles. He's $3,100 FanDuel salary and $2,000 more on DraftKings. He's projected at 11.1 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 8 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 3, 6, and 10 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Josh Donaldson here versus Jordan Lyles.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. Okay, so Xander Bogaerts is in a pretty good spot here tonight, but I do prefer for only 100 more on both sites. We picked this guy yesterday and he was a hit, and he's in a good spot here tonight or today. So I like Tria Turner with a 48% batting advantage over Drew Smyly. Tria Turner bats 30% better versus lefty pitchers. He's batting 1.219 OPS versus lefties. And Drew Smyly, he pitches 19% worse to righties as he does lefties, giving up a .847 OPS versus righties. Tria Turner is 1 for 3 with a 1.666 OPS versus Smyly. That one hit was for a home run. So Tria Turner is $3,800 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,500 more on DraftKings. He's projected at 11.4 fantasy points here tonight, averaging 12 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 22, 9, and 9 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So I like Tria Turner here versus Drew Smyly. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. I'm going to give you a stud pick here. I like Byron Buxton with a 33% batting advantage over that low salary pitcher, Jordan Lyles. Byron Buxton is batting 9% better versus righty pitchers. He's batting a 1.059 OPS versus righties. And Jordan Lyles, we know he throws his worst ball versus righty batters. 24% worse than his other pitches, giving up a 1.002 OPS versus righties. Byron Buxton, there's no at-bats versus Lyles yet, and he's $4,400 FanDuel salary and $1,400 more on DraftKings. Projected at 11.9 fantasy points here tonight, he's averaging 16 fantasy points per game on the season, and he scored 6, 22, and 12 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Byron Buxton here versus Jordan Lyles. So I also like Ronald Acuna Jr., another stud pick here. He's got a 47% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, John Lester. Ronald Acuna Jr., he's batting a 1.029 OPS versus lefties, and John Lester is giving up a .883 OPS versus righties. Acuna Jr. is 2 for 6, batting a .333 batting average and a .666 OPS versus Lester. He's $4,300 FanDuel salary, and he's $1,200 more on DraftKings. Projected at 13.7 fantasy points here tonight. It's a pretty high projection, so it looks like they like Ronald Acuna Jr. here, and he's averaging 17 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 12, 22, and 4 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So I like Ronald Acuna Jr. here versus John Lester.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.